On February 15, 1977, a 2-ton steel cage named Angus was lowered to the seafloor near the Galapagos Islands. It was equipped with cameras, powerful strobe lights, and a sensor capable of detecting water temperature changes as small as 0.005 of a degree. Throughout the night, Angus took thousands of photos, while researchers monitored the temperature readings, hoping to see a spike that would indicate they had found what they were looking for: a deep-sea hydrothermal vent. After many hours of searching, Angus finally sent out a signal. It had registered a rise in water temperature. The next day, scientists developed the 3,000 photos that Angus had taken during its 16-kilometer journey. They examined each photo, frame by frame, until they reached the ones corresponding to the time when the temperature spike occurred. All the photos taken before the temperature anomaly showed only barren terrain. But in 13 frames during the temperature spike, the photos revealed that the seafloor was covered with hundreds of white clams and brown mussel shells. This was certainly not what the researchers had expected. With no light reaching the depths, the seafloor was thought to be a desolate wasteland. Excited and puzzled by what they had just found, the researchers prepared Alvin, the 3-person deep-sea research submarine, for investigation. The 3 pilots navigated to the spot where the temperature spike had occurred. What they found left them astounded. From small cracks in the ocean floor came warm, shimmering water. They had successfully discovered what they had hoped to find for the first time: a deep-sea hydrothermal vent. But what they absolutely did not expect to find was a vibrant, strange, and dense community of animals thriving there. From Alvin, the pilots could see 30-centimeter-long white clams, thousands of brown mussels, and many oddly shaped white crabs. Later, they found a vent site filled with massive 8-foot-tall white tube worms with bright red tips. The discovery of these animals was so surprising because, until that point, it was believed that the entire planet and its food chain were completely dependent on photosynthesis, and that no community of animals could live without sunlight. What were these animals eating in total darkness? Water samples from the vents gave scientists their first clue. When the researchers opened the first water sample, the smell of rotten eggs filled the room. The water was full of hydrogen sulfide. Something about the chemicals coming from the vents allowed the animals to live at these depths. Without food from sunlight, this would mark the beginning of a revolutionary revelation in chemistry and biology, changing our understanding of where and how life on Earth began. Hydrothermal vents form in places where 2 tectonic plates are separating from each other. This is why all the hydrothermal vents discovered to date, more than 240 of them, are located at the boundaries of Earth's plates. The vents result from seawater seeping through fissures in the ocean crust near spreading centers. Due to pressure and temperature, the water is forced back up and released back into the ocean. Along with the water come various minerals that start to precipitate out. Once they touch the cold sea floor, these precipitations begin to form hydrothermal chimneys, which have been found to reach heights of up to 60 meters or 18 stories. These magnificent structures are located at an average depth of 2,100 meters, with the deepest ones found at 3,800 meters. Chimneys like these are called black smokers and are formed from iron sulfide deposits. The plumes emitted by these vents release all sorts of heavy metals and sulfides, substances that are extremely toxic to most living creatures. The temperature of the water coming from the vents can reach up to 400 degrees Celsius without boiling. Due to the immense pressure at these depths, the environment is extremely harsh, and yet life thrives here. Giant clams and 8-foot-long tube worms are exceptionally interesting and strange creatures. However, it's actually a smaller organism that makes these ecosystems possible: microbes that convert mineral-rich fluids into energy. Instead of using light energy to transform carbon dioxide into sugar, as plants do, they use the energy released by chemical reactions of the minerals expelled from the vents to produce sugar, a process known as chemosynthesis. For reference, plant photosynthesis uses sunlight to transfer electrons from water to carbon dioxide to produce carbohydrates, creating sugar. However, without sunlight, the process is different. During chemosynthesis, the energy source is the energy released from a chemical reaction, the oxidation of an inorganic substance, rather than energy harvested from sunlight. The hot water flowing from hydrothermal vents is saturated with inorganic compounds such as hydrogen sulfide to produce glucose from water and carbon dioxide. Pure sulfur and sulfur compounds are produced as byproducts, and this process allows the vibrant communities of deep-sea animals to survive. For example, giant tube worms live in symbiosis with these bacteria. The bacteria live inside the worm, enabling it to utilize the sugar molecules created. These strange-looking crabs are also found in large numbers around hydrothermal vents. They also survive directly on the sugars produced by chemosynthetic bacteria growing in their bristles. Other animals feed on the clams, mussels, or crabs that consume the bacteria. All the creatures forming hydrothermal vent communities are part of a food chain made possible by chemosynthesis. Our knowledge of chemosynthetic communities began with the discovery of the first hydrothermal vent communities in the 1970s. Since then, chemosynthetic bacteria have been found in hot springs, on land, and in whale carcasses and sunken ships at the bottom of the ocean. Their discovery has completely changed how scientists think about the origins of life itself. Scientists generally agree that the origin of life on Earth involved an evolutionary process of increasing complexity that included molecular replication, self-assembly, and eventually the emergence of cell membranes. Essentially, chemicals and molecules slowly organized into nucleated cells. However, there are many different theories about exactly how this could have occurred. For years, a prevailing theory known as the primordial soup theory of life was based on Stanley Miller's 1952 experiment, which demonstrated that most amino acids can be synthesized from inorganic compounds by sending an electrical charge through a flask containing a chemical solution of methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water. Scientists proposed that an external energy source, such as lightning, might have triggered these reactions on early Earth. However, critics of the soup theory point out that there's no sustained source of energy to make inorganic compounds react, and without such an energy source, life as we know it could not have emerged. In 1993, geochemist Michael Russell from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory introduced an opposing theory. He suggested that life originated by harnessing the energy gradients that exist when alkaline vent fluids mix with more acidic seawater, providing the continuous energy source needed. The rationale behind this line of thinking is that life as we know it relies on physical compartmentalization from the environment, where the chemical reactions necessary for life occur in a self-contained environment, for example inside cells. Researchers like Russell hypothesized that inorganic matter with similar compartmentalization attributes could have led to organic life. Proton gradients across cell walls and membranes to create charge differentials also play an essential role in life. This is known as the proton motive force, and typically involves a difference of about 3 pH units across a membrane. This acts as a mechanism to store potential energy, which can then be harnessed when protons pass through the membrane to phosphorylate ADP and produce ATP, the chemical that provides energy for living cells. The precursor to life would similarly need a chemical gradient across a physical boundary. For these reasons, Russell proposed that life might have originated in deep-sea hydrothermal vents. If these vents had pores that could provide a template for living cells, and if there was a 3 pH unit difference across the thin mineral walls separating the vent fluid from the seawater. This energy could allow for the reduction of carbon dioxide and the production of organic molecules, followed by self-replicating molecules like RNA and eventually true cells with their own membranes. Scientists praise this theory as being hypothetically possible, but no such vent meeting these criteria had ever been found. The vents discovered previously were not alkaline by nature and therefore lacked a chemical gradient that could be harnessed. However, in 2000, the missing piece of this puzzle was found at the Lost City hydrothermal field, located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. This vent was different from those previously found. It emitted alkaline water. The Lost City vents differ from the black smoker type in that they're located several kilometers away from the spreading zones, rather than directly on top of them. Because of this, the water does not come into close contact with the magma chambers beneath the crust. Instead, it's heated through chemical reactions between seawater and mantle rock. As a result, the water's only heated to around 90 degrees Celsius on average, instead of 400 degrees Celsius as in black smokers. Additionally, due to the mineral composition of the earth beneath the Lost City, the vent emits water that is highly alkaline, with a pH of around 11. The chimney walls are also full of tiny pores that separate the hot alkaline fluid from the cooler acidic seawater. The interface between the two creates a natural charge gradient. Scientists realized that this could be the pH gradient in a compartmentalized structure that Russell had proposed as necessary for life to emerge. Although not all scientists agree that life began in a deep-sea hydrothermal system, and many details still need to be worked out, this theory of life has significant implications for our world and beyond. Hydrothermal vents have recently been found on other worlds, such as Saturn's moon Enceladus, a place where conditions might not only allow for life to exist, but also to begin. The ocean covers most of the Earth's surface, yet we've explored less than 20% of it, and even less than 1% by some estimates. It may seem like an alien world. The first photograph of a living giant squid was taken in 2004, and only 4 people have ever ventured to the bottom of the Mariana Trench's deepest part, known as the Challenger Deep, nearly 11,000 meters down. For perspective, only 12 people have walked on the moon. I think most people can relate to the fascination with the dark depths of the sea, both for the incredible things that have been discovered and for what still remains to be seen.